I, Sir Bolton, have charged my soul, and so Raiden is now ready for attack. I stab at thee with Raiden as Sir Bolton.
All right, well, I'm going to block with some card, and then I'm going to block with United We Stand, and it's got U.N.I.T.Y. So when I defend with this and another card, you get a courage token because you're cool. And then I get a seismic surge because I'm Starvo, Bravo. And then why not? Briar over there gets an embodiment in Earth. Dorinthia, forget her. Lexi gets embodiment in Lightning. Oldhim gets a Spellbane Aegis. Prism gets a Spectral Shield. And Shiana gets an Eloquence. Reactions?
Welcome everybody to the reaction step, our really fun YouTube show. If you are listening to this in the audio feed, obviously, hit myself in the face with the sword. That's right. There's a sword involved. Mm-hmm. So there's a visual gag. So you probably want to check out the YouTube.
Yeah. And all those people I mentioned are here with me as well. So you missed them as well.
Yeah, totally. It's a this round's on me, United We Stand situation over on Colin's end. Kind of like a augmented reality thing that Pokemon Go was doing for a while, but it's fab related. So
exactly, totally different.
Hello, Colin. How are you,
Taylor? I'm great. How are you?
Great. I got the memo that we were both wearing black T-shirts today, so we match.
My shirt has Kano on it. Baby.
Hey, there he is.
The birthday present.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Today, we're going to be talking about the new trickle of spoilers that have happened. We have a lot more specializations and now bannerets to talk about. So we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
Colin, where do you want to start?
Ooh, wow. I mean, I have no idea. I was stuck in the thought of like, we even looked up what banneret means, and we'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah.
Tune in later for a knowledge drop on why it's a banneret and not a banner. And here's a hint: it has nothing to do with the size of the banner.
Thank God, because I was self-conscious about my banner size.
Since I shouted it out in the head of the show, I guess we should start with United We Stand.
Ooh, yeah, spice.
Because it's pretty crazy. It's got some dope art on it. It's got almost everybody in there. It looks crazy. It's a light action. It's a cost 3 attack action. Cost 3, 6 power. Blocks for 2, though, which is probably a poor choice of defending on my part, but it basically does nothing but has the giant unity text, which gives everybody everything, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, I don't know. This one I think is the only unity card we've seen that is not a specialization. Is that right? I think so far, yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a light action, so I guess it's just Prism and Bolton. Currently, and maybe Shiana. If no, she can't do that.
Mm-mm.
You can't have it in there. Mm-mm. But yeah, that's it, and it blocks, and it costs 3, and it's a yellow. It's a weird combination of things on this card. Honestly, I don't know how to feel about it. I think it definitely is just like, hey, everybody, PvE is a thing we're still gonna do. Sometime, maybe.
Yeah.
Is kind of the feelings I get.
What's crazy about it? There are 2 things that are crazy about it to me. One is it's a majestic, so that'll be fun to pull in the packs. 2, the light banner, but or border, excuse me, that goes around the card, like kind of cuts some people off. Like it's just in Bolton's face right there. Yeah, it's just covering up his face.
He got the Mike Wazowski treatment.
Yeah, totally. We're like Hayden Dale at a Pro Tour, and it kind of cuts off Lexi. But so those are the 2 things I think are so funny about it. Yeah. And then I guess the other there then a bonus colon other two things. LSS is saying like, hey, these are the good guys, you know, really omitted the mechanologists, the ninjas, Icelanders not in there, you know, etc. So that's interesting. And then lastly, there's a playmat. That's that artwork. Far superior. That is like the playmat that I would really like to have.
Is it a playmat or is it just the full art that somebody shared?
I thought it was going to be the playmat, but maybe it is just full art.
I mean, it'd be a shame if they didn't do the playmat. But I think it was just a full art. Either way, I feel like it will be. And based on just the epicness of the art, I feel like maybe this could be like a Marvel, you know, cool card, cold foil situation. Like, it's pretty like, not to mix terminology too much, but it's like a banner of flesh and blood, like heroes and stuff. Like,
Totally. What's also really funny is tiny Shiana in the background, even in like the big art, which I'm looking at, you can barely see her back there, you know, which maybe that's her style, is
that's
lurking.
True. She's sneaky. You know, art by Alexander Makov. Shout out to him. Another banger. Totally. He's done a lot of amazing art, including the one and only Kano, Drakai of Ether, Dracona Optimi, Earthlord Bounty, Beast Within, Arc Knight Ascendancy, Bravo even. I forgot that. Celestial Cataclysm. Yeah, this is on par for him. Dude's got a bunch. Dude's just got good art. So, cool card. I don't know if it's going to be played in like any normal deck, but who knows? We have a lot to see in the set.
It's freaking sweet. If it came in like a cold foil, it would be one that I would just be like, I'm going to put this in a snap and display it because it's just freaking crazy.
Yeah. It would. You know? I feel like if they don't do some kind of special art treatment, it will be a wasted opportunity because it's just super cool. And like I said, it's just like it's like an advertisement for like flesh and blood lore and heroes. It's like, look, which one do you want to be? You can be that one, and you can usually have fun.
Totally. Maybe I'll just like turn this into my computer background now.
It's pretty good. I've got the stained glass on mine right now, which is very nice.
Oh, sweet. Hell yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What's next?
Anthem of Spring. Ooh. So we now have a Briar specialization. It is an earth action that defends for 2 and is a blue. The next attack action card you play this turn gets +1. Go again. And you guessed it, Unity. When this defends together from a card from hand, create an embodiment of earth token under any number of heroes' control. So pretty good. I mean, it's a strong blue for Briar. That's an earth card. That is like a non-attack action. So can be really cool with like, what's that one that draws you cards? Why am I blanking on it?
Force of Nature.
Force of Nature, Fuse, Anthem of Spring, play Anthem of Spring, Blammo, Lightning Embodiment. Now you get +2 on your next attack, which is pretty sick. So
yeah, I'm curious. For the Unity effect, does the embodiment of Earth kick in immediately? So like you block with this card and it bumps it up to a 3 automatically?
I don't know. That's interesting.
And then if you already had one, right? Like it would bump you. They stack, right? Because they used to stack. They just nerfed Briar's ability. So if you had one, this would become basically like a defense reaction if you block with 2 cards. But you know, when have you seen Briar block?
Sometimes.
It's a joke. It's a joke, people. They block sometimes. I've seen it. Pretty cool. I don't know enough about Briar to know if this will be like an auto include or a tech card, or maybe it's not good enough to replace another card. I don't know. I think if you're going more Earth, it's probably good.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I just double checked with Patrick, which shout out to Patrick every time we do a live episode and I need a rules clarification. All the things you said are true. So it will buff itself. And if you already have an embodiment, they stack.
Dude, it's like I know how to play the game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically, not like actually. And actually, I just make all the mistakes and lose. But anyways.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Cool card. Interesting. I like that it's our first anthem. It sounds like something that will have, you know, a series of cards. Like, get an anthem of winter,
courage,
anthem of courage, anthem of eloquence, anthem of rune blood,
anthem of either iron songs or something else, spell blades. I don't know.
It will be an iron song. Everything's an iron song. All right. So pretty good. I don't know if it's like earth shattering, but it's got some interesting stuff going on there. Should we go into the winter area?
Yeah.
The northern winds. It's an old hymn specialization. Guess what? It's ice. It's a blue, but it does block for 2. It says freeze up to 1 equipment, item, and or ally each hero controls. A frozen object can't be played or activated. And then it has Unity and says when this defends together with a card from hand, create a Spellbane Aegis token under any number of heroes' control. Remind me what a Spellbane Aegis token does.
It's like Spell Void 1, I believe.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure.
So I think a little bit of, kerfuffle when this card was spoiled around the statement of freeze, not clarifying that it is until the next turn. But I believe it has been clarified by the judges' Discord that freeze is always until the next turn and never like a permanent thing unless specifically stated. So at least that's what I believe the consensus was at the end of everyone being like, what the hell? But yeah, I mean, blue ice card, they're always pretty good. Kind of.
Yeah. Well, what's also crazy about this is it doesn't say, it's like the way I read it, you have to freeze both you and your opponent, right? But obviously if like if you don't have an ally, then you don't have to freeze it. But if you freeze their equipment, do you also have to freeze your equipment? Because freeze up to 1 equipment, I guess I would freeze up to 1 for you and up to 0 for me.
Yeah,
I guess.
up to, yeah. I think, yeah. You almost had me there. I was like, what? That's crazy. But yeah, so the cool thing too is that it's not it's equipment, item, and or ally. So you could freeze 3 things, which is pretty good, especially I feel like, in this instance, Oldham into Dromai, where, they might have a bit of a harder time in that matchup, especially if you're playing against Dragon Daddy Isaac Jessen, because he's just out there hunting you down. You can freeze a dragon. You can freeze their what's their chess piece called? I'm forgetting now.
Flame scale
furnace. And if they got like they don't really run items, do they?
Energy potion.
Yeah, sure, why not? Be cool if we could freeze an ash, like one of their permanent ash. Like, you can't use that. It's gone. I froze the ash. It's just like hard dirt now.
Which is called ice.
Is it? Is it really?
Well, yeah, I know. I guess it's water, but anybody who lives in the middle or north parts of the country know that your snow can get pretty dirty.
Or like the southern parts of their southern hemisphere country, because we're an international podcast, despite being California bros. So I don't know. I think again we'll just have to see it feel. I mean, Oldham's LL'd, so
who cares?
Doesn't really matter. He's LL'd in Blitz too, right?
Yeah, yeah, he's like done for.
Yeah, he's completely out. He's only allowed in the Living Legend format, and in that format, he can use Winter's Will. So this will be pretty fun for anybody playing that. I'll have to ask local old hymn legend Craig Pollock what he thinks about this card next time I see him, because
Yeah,
the dude knows a lot about Guardians.
totally. It seems like a real tech card if Oldhim was around. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't have go again, so you're giving up 4 damage with a hammer swing, basically, for freezing stuff. You know what I mean? And like its unity is not super applicable unless it's like a rune blade. You know what I mean? That would be the only time it's really applicable. But against Kano, like they don't attack you, so you can't defend with it, so you can't get a Spellbane Aegis. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the funniest part was how much the internet freaked out for like 8 hours.
Yeah, before we got that clarification on freeze, that was a lot of tinfoil hats came out, and they're just like, reach behind me, put on my tinfoil hat, and get real mad about this thing I don't understand yet.
They made it so Oldhim would LL. They want him out of here.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What? Why didn't they just make a 20 damage attack then?
Like, because, yeah. Anyways, so that's that.
Yeah.
Northern winds, as they like to say in
the north.
In the north. All right. Let's go.
Yeah. Next up, call down the lightning. Lexi specialization. It's a lightning action that defends for 2, costs 0, and is a yellow, so it pitches for 2. Also, just briefly going back to Northern Winds, excellent artwork. Excellent artwork. Call down the lightning. Your attacks this turn get whenever the defending hero adds 1 or more defending cards from hand to this chain link. This deals 1 damage to them. Go again. And then it has unity, and you get an embodiment of lightning token when you defend with it in another card from hand. So pretty good card if you ask me.
Yeah, from what I gathered, the Lexi players out there are saying it is not so good in the current build, the fuseless builds that are kind of more prominent in the meta right now. But for Lexi that is fusing, I think it does do better because you have more of those on damage triggers and effects rather than, because to clarify for any newer players, and if you are new, welcome. You made the right choice and great taste in content creators.
I'm knighting our new listeners here.
Boom! You are now an Attactioneer, the Banneret of Attactioneers. But correct me if I'm wrong. But on damage is not on hit, right?
Correct.
So on hit triggers don't happen with it dealing a damage, but there are specific cards that say when it deals damage, something else happens. So I think it's fun that it pushes people maybe back towards a fusing Lexi. I'm always just like kind of disappointed when the best version of a hero kind of ignores the hero and class mechanics.
Yeah.
Just like, which is just a me thing. But yeah, it's always just a bummer. Like, yeah, the best version of this deck doesn't use any of its cool cards that are like, do all this fun stuff and these crazy things happen. It's like, obviously that's not as consistent as just doing straight damage and, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I agree with everything you said. And to me, the way this card smells is it smells like a build around kind of card where it will push you over to like testing it out. Like, okay, well, what if I do this with like these things? And you're like, oh, that's pretty strong. Well, then I'll add in this. And then all of a sudden we have like just a crazy 3 of a kind combo that uses call down the lightning with a bunch of other bullshit. And you're just like, Dang.
Yeah. I mean, you do this
You
with
know?
like chilling Ice Vein, and like every time they block, they just get damaged and have to discard a card. Like,
Yeah.
and then if they get hit, they have to discard a card. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
pretty nuts. I feel like that on its own, you're just like, I'm just gonna run 9 of chilling Ice Vein, a bunch of ice cards, and call down lightning, and just like, you know, take all your cards out of your hand. You know, 3
Yeah,
times.
totally. I think too, you could probably set it up with some of the like other effects that deal extra damage that are in the lightning arrows and stuff. Like this deals damage, then it deals actually 2, you know, like an in-game thing where you're like, I'm just taking 6 damage here and I need to also block these arrows.
Totally.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like a 3 arrow turn with call down the lightning on it, and you're just like, okay, cool. I'm dead now.
Yeah,
You know?
because like Frazzle, like if Lightning Fusion, if Frazzle was fused, whenever an attack would deal damage this turn, instead it deals damage +1. So I think that stacks with this, so it would deal 2 damage every time.
Right. I believe
like,
I believe you're correct.
I should take a judge test or something, but I don't want to be a judge. Too much pressure. Yeah, I mean, that just sounds fun. Anytime I hear like a build around card situation, that does lead me to think it might start smelling a little janky. But
Yeah.
who knows? I think we'll just have to see. Everything we say today is going to always be kind of clarified by we'll just see what happens, because it's really hard to look at an individual card outside of a whole set and decide whether it's going to have an impact on anything. And if, you know, prior expansion sets or any guidance, there'll be a couple real big bangers that actually have a big influence on a class and a build, and everything else will kind of be, you know, fine, or just like replace a card and is like just a slightly better version. So yeah, that's Call Down the Lightning. What's next? Ooh.
Well, I think it's all the banner cards. I think these other ones we have seen.
Did we? Have we talked about it? What time is it? We got time. We got time.
You want to talk about whatever you want to talk about? It's your pick.
All right. We'll talk about Starstruck. And excuse the gardeners with the loud blowers in the background.
I thought your Roomba was getting mad at you and was trying to get in the door.
Roomba. You have to have like a clear floor to have a Roomba to be able to clean it. Anyways, Starstruck. It's a Bravo specialization. 7, cost 7, yellow. Interesting card color for Bravo. Attacks for 10, blocks for 3. It says, Crush, when this deals 4 or more damage to a hero, the only attacks they may play or activate during their next turn are attacks with base power greater than the damage dealt this way. So that will be at least 4, because Crush happens when it deals 4. It also has Unity. When this defends together with a card from hand, create a Seismic Surge token under any number of heroes' control. So just a really good Bravo card. I think that's kind of it. It's just like, this is good. I think people will run it. I think a card that you can block with that just gives you value. Like, it's just like, here's a resource for your next turn.
Yeah. And if you've already made a Seismic Surge,
Yeah.
now you get a discount of 2. So now,
Yeah, pay 3 for a 5 cost card, and
yeah. So like
Profit.
Spinal Crush
Yeah.
comes off of a blue, which is bananas. Yeah.
2 card Spinal Crush with Starstruck and a block. So
Yeah.
I think just
And you're
strictly
not,
good.
and you're also not upset if you have a Seismic Surge and you pay 6 to do 6 for 10. And then it has this on hit that maybe shuts down your opponent's turn, depending on the matchup, you know?
Totally, yeah.
So,
And
good.
I think even if you pitch 3 cards, do this and dominate it, like, they're really going to shut down their turn.
Totally. Pommel.
4 cards, pummel, let's go. Fuck it, we should just play Bravo. He's just got good cards. Cool. All right, let's get into the Bannerets then, I guess.
So Banneret refers to the person who is the leader of the knights, not the actual banner. So
Crazy.
that's a fact we had to look up why it wasn't called Banner of Courage, rather Banneret. So
Crazy that they named the people after the cloth.
so now these all have the soul flare keyword that is basically whenever you charge that card, it gives you a buff. So Banneret of Courage, which is my favorite one, is a light warrior attack action, defends for 3, is a yellow, costs 1, attacks for 4, and it has soul flare. When this is charged to your hero's soul, create a courage token. Now we don't know what a courage token is, but I bet it's awesome.
What do you think it is, though?
I'm not really sure. I wonder if it's like +1/+1. So like +1 attack, +1 defense. Who knows? Or it could just be an aura that says whenever you charge, your attacks this turn get +1 or something like that. You know?
Yeah.
Who
Well,
knows though?
Dory can get them too, so
Courage tokens.
yeah, it can't be a charge thing. I think it's I'm on the boring boat where like they like to keep the terminology related. So I'd say courage is related to the chess piece.
Cost.
And it'll be a reduction in cost on sword swings. But either way, it's a good name. Banneret of Courage. Good art on this one too. Just
Yeah.
Bolton looking like a boss on a boulder
With
a banner and his
Raiden.
Raiden just like radiating sunlight.
And I just want okay, note for the people that he has one giant sword.
That's right.
Not 2 little swords. He has one giant sword depicted in this artwork. The true way that Bolton should be. Just putting that out there.
Again, the thematic correctness of a hero in class versus what's actually better. Although I've seen a lot of Raiden builds that are pretty good, so
Yeah.
that's cool. All right, so let's go into the next one. We've got Banneret of Gallantry. This one yellow. I mean, these are all yellow. We'll just get that out of the way. This one costs 1, 4 power, and it has soul flare. When this card is charged to your hero's soul, create a quicken token. Just
Pretty good.
going again. We're Bolton. We go again. I love the art on this one is also pretty cool. It's kind of got like a phalanx situation behind this like dope warrior woman. I think it's a woman. Yeah, I don't. Well, it doesn't matter. They got long hair and like they look cool. So it's a good art either way. Yeah, I mean I think the main topic here is just like soul flare as a keyword, and it's very interesting now to have specific cards for charging that basically like that's the only reason they exist. Like sure you can play this in a pinch, but I think any other light warrior attack action is probably better than these, and these are just in your deck as resources and charge cards, which is cool. I think that's a really interesting way to kind of build out their power without like giving them crazy on hits or like it's just like it ekes out just like a little bit more value from what they're already doing, which I'm down with.
Totally. I agree. It's a really cool design space. And my guess is that these only come in yellow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's 6 of these and they all come in yellow, kind of just like the hybrid traps were only red and stuff like that. Cause it seems like they're playing with that design a bit more. And like, I don't know why you wouldn't run, a non-zero number of these in Bolton. They're pretty good and they work in like a pinch, like on a V of the Vanguard turn. You know what I mean? Like they may or may not like replace things like, I mean, Valiant Thrust is like pretty good, but could replace maybe those slots in the deck, some number of them. unsure.
Absolutely.
Moving on to Banneret of Protection. It is also a 1 for 4 that defends for 3. And Soul Flare, when this is charged to your hero's soul, can create a Spellbane Aegis token. So that actually could be pretty applicable for Bolton.
Yeah, I think good against this one is good against Kano because you get to attack and still put up some protection. That's always the kind of give and take, especially in the Bolton Kano matchup. They're both kind of trying to combo off a bit, so the ability to maybe overextend slightly or go for another attack that you would rather kind of keep a card back. This like gives you a way to protect yourself from a big blowout in that case. So pretty good.
Yeah, and it forces Kano to do the old okay, before this resolve, is created, you have to like respond, I believe is probably how that works. When you charge, then that becomes, I think it must be a triggered ability, all of these, right? When you charge.
Yeah. I think when you create something that's an effect on the stack that you pass priority on. So he could respond to it, but again, you do that right away. They're like, shit, I have to make this choice now without having the information I'd like to know about what's coming next. So
totally. And it's just would be good against Runeblade, stops a arcane ping, stops a rune chant, etc.
Yeah.
So
the cool thing
like
there,
that.
I think, is like you could stack them too, right? So like if you have multiple Spellbane Aegis, it has Spell Void, and so you could still pitch to block Arcane, and then when you want, you could like accrue several Spellbane Aegis tokens and then just go all out and then still be able to prevent, a couple Arcane, which is pretty cool.
It is cool.
All right, what's next is Banneret of Resilience. This one is basically Jon Snow, the card.
Yeah.
I gotta type it in here. Oh no. Oh, Resilient. I spelled it wrong. There it goes. Banneret of Resilience. Soul Flare. Oh, this one is 0 for 3. So,
right.
Still
a yellow.
Only thing different there, yeah. And then Soul Flare, when this is charged to your hero's soul, the next action card you defend with this turn gets +1 defense, which the exciting thing here is that there'll be something in Bolton where you charge while you're defending, because that doesn't exist right now, I'm pretty sure. Right?
No, I mean, all we have is Soul Shield, and that just goes to your soul and is a defense reaction.
That is not the same as charging. If you're new, charging is a specific thing that happens. It has to say charge. Things that just go into your soul don't just count as charging. So that'll be very interesting. It's very. I'm curious if it will be because it's the next action. So you're gonna have to. It's a little bit weird because you're going to defend with something that allows you to charge, or maybe it's an instant. It could be an instant, I guess. But let's assume you defend with something and then you charge, and then the next thing you defend with gets +1. It's just like, okay, so now we're using 3 cards to defend with, which is probably not the place Bolton wants to be, is on a 2-card hand or a 1 or 2 card hand.
Well, does it? Yeah, totally. Is there? So it's like defense reactions don't become defending cards right away until both heroes pass. So in theory, but it's a reaction. It's not it's not an action. So then it doesn't even matter. Okay, so it doesn't even work.
Yeah.
So it's like
unless there's like a unity, maybe it's a unity thing. You defend with this and another card you can charge. No, that's all your cards. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Or it's like a regular card, but it has a defense ability, which we have seen attack action cards that have on defense abilities. So maybe it's like when you defend with the card, you can charge your soul, and then you can charge it with this, and then maybe there's there's a reaction that if you've charged, you like, oh no, wait, but this does, I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. Well, we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how this actually works in a couple weeks.
Totally. There's a scenario where light warriors, Bolton, I guess, or it could be a light action defense reaction situation, is like bad flick flack.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Only applicable against wide turns type of deal.
that's true. Which could be good, you know, because sometimes Bolton just wants to do one attack and charge, like, and
Yeah.
and if you can now charge in while you're defending, like that kind of allows you
Speeds
to do
up
that. Yeah.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
it kind of equals out and lets you be a little bit more defensive rather than always having to charge with an attack, which pretty interesting. All right. Next up, Banneret of Salvation. 0 for 3. Soul Flare, when this is charged to your hero's soul, the next time you hit this turn, gain a life.
Which is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
So
You
I
charge
mean, it
this
fits.
with like, you know, your big combo. I forget the
Yeah.
God, what's the card?
Lumina.
Lumina, yeah. And then
Yep.
you're just gaining lots of health, which they already
Yeah.
do, but pretty cool.
Totally. So that definitely slots into that scenario where you're like, ooh, hopefully we get Banneret of Salvation here on my Lumina turn. And then now every sword swing, instead of gaining you potentially 2 life, gains you 3, which is just an even bigger swing in terms of, you know, how that combo goes off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, where was it? Oh yeah. Shout out to Push the Point. They did like a classic battles, Reinar versus Bolton in one of their, I think, Road to National tournaments or something, and they just did some commentary over the game.
Nice.
And it's just a great masterclass, or you just really get to see the power of the Sabers combo, and it like flips the game around. You're like, Bolton's dead for sure, and then he gets it off, and then it's a totally new game. So
Yep.
that just makes this combo even better.
Absolutely.
Last one here, Banneret of Vigor. So it's a 0 for 3, yellow. And Soul Flare, when this is charged to your hero's soul, the next time you hit this turn, gain a resource. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I like this one as well.
Yeah. Gaining a resource is chill. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like Bolton's got a good amount of on hits. You know, he's got the draw cards and go into the soul and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like this one isn't a deck that generally likes to pitch a lot of cards. So being able to gain a resource and maybe pop off one of those, like, you know, kind of big, if you've charged this turn, this does +4 kind of cards.
Yeah.
Which I forget what it's called, but there's a couple of those.
Valiant Thrust.
Is that Valiant Thrust? Yeah, where it's just
Yeah.
like comes in for a lot of damage now, but it is a little expensive. So, you know, Tunic plus this, but they probably don't run Tunic anyways. I don't know how to play Warrior, but
I think
seems good.
Raiden can play Tunic. But so just even off of like a Tunic resource, a you know, one of the, you know, Engulfing Light or something like that, one of the just weenie attacks, you can charge with Banneret of Vigor, Snapdragons when they don't block it, because why would they? It doesn't have go again, you know, and then into Raiden, and then you got red Valiant Thrust in Arsenal and your attack hit, so you got an extra resource, boom, all of a sudden off a 2-card hand and gaining 1 resource, you wind up doing like 13 damage. So that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
You know?
Hell yeah. Cool. All right. I'm going to jump back. We've done all the bannerets, which, you know, if you remember, is not the banner, but the person holding the banner. I want to jump back because I relooked at this card and it's actually pretty interesting, even though it's pretty niche. Alluring Inducement. Is this the first Shiana specialization?
It is.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think first Shiana specialization, Shapeshifter hero, only viable or only playable in Blitz and questionably viable, but really cool card because it's a yellow, cost 2, it attacks for 2 and defends for 2. But when this attacks, the defending hero reveals their hand, and you may choose an attack action card revealed this way. If you do, this becomes the chosen card. So if you're playing against Bravo, this becomes a 2-cost Crippling Crush. And that's pretty nuts. And it has Unity, of course. It says when this defends together with a card from hand, create an Eloquence token under any number of heroes' control. The Eloquence token, of course, being a aura, is when you play a non-attack action card, destroy this, and that card gets go again. But yeah, I don't have much to say about Shiana. I just thought it was like, it's a pretty fun card, and it's interesting to see them kind of build out this class. I mean, it's a weird thing where she is a legendary character, like her rarity.
Is she the Fable? No, it's
No.
Arcanite Shard. You're right. She's legendary.
She was a legendary hero, rarity hero, not like some other meaning of legendary. Right. So it's very hard to obtain the card to play. But they've built a lot of like cards that are kind of for Shiana, not explicitly, but this one is the first one that is like, this is a Shiana card, shapeshift. There might be another shapeshifter action, I forget, but yeah, I don't know much what else to say about it other than it's like, it's a very interesting ability. I'm curious how they see shapeshifter actually functioning in the meta, because LSS is very hands-on with how they think the meta and the game should be playing at the moment. But then again, they sometimes print these cards that are like offshoots of ideas that don't really build in the direction of a current class's main progression. And it's unclear sometimes if that's just like an idea to give variety, a way to print new cards without making it, the class overpowered, or if it's something that they're like gonna keep building on. For instance, like the cat situation in Katsu, he has all these cat stuff, but there's like not enough of it to really work on its own. So it's pretty much not played right now. But like, will there get more support, or like, are they building these like kind of foundations for archetypes that aren't viable yet but could be later? Who's to say? We'll just be back here next season with spoilers to see what else is going on.
Yeah, all of that's correct, and I hope we don't get too much Shiana support, because the price of that card's just going to go up. Like, I think a couple of months ago it was like $80, $75, and now it's like 120. So it's like, ooh, I mean, I was like, ooh, maybe I'll play Shiana now. That sounds fun. Yeah. All of these specializations, like, well, that's just too much for a Blitz hero for what's seemingly a meme deck. Yeah. But if somebody wants to do that, I guess that's really fun, and that's your bag, baby, and that's totally cool, Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. It's taken us years to get a single gold token. When we first got that extra,
is a great case in point. They are playing the long game over there, and we're just along for the ride. So we'll see where Shiana unfolds. We'll see where all this Unity stuff, all the PvE, et cetera, et cetera. I guess I got a question right now. How do you feel about this kind of trickling in of UPF and PvE, like these multiplayer format, like cards in like a normal set are like pretty much only made for these one very niche format and one non-existent format? Thoughts?
I think it's totally fine. It's so far not that many cards, and it only, like, if you're a collector, cool, you have stuff to collect. If you're a player, you don't have to buy boxes. You can buy singles and not get the cards you don't want. You know what I mean? So it doesn't hurt anybody, and it's not like it's a draftable set, so it's totally fine. The other thing, well, do you have any thoughts on that? Go ahead.
I'm like kind of torn. I have dabbled too much in the collecting portion, and it's really bummer to just have a bunch of cards that are just useless.
Yeah.
Especially at like the majestic and higher level, you're just like, great. This is. I wish this was anything else but this
Yeah.
card. You know, especially if we're looking back at like dynasty hit rates for majestic and higher. Like, just some cards are so hard to get, and it's weird to me to just like accept that like buying a box is like bad value when it's like, well, I feel like it should be pretty good value. Like, you're buying a whole box of cards. Like, there should be,
Yeah.
you should come out of it being like, okay, cool. But, I think I also buy too many boxes, and I'm definitely going to be moving towards the single buying because I end up doing that anyways. And it's just like, why did I buy these boxes? So,
Yeah. That's my financial plan now is if it's draftable, I buy boxes.
yeah.
If it's an expansion set, I'm just getting singles out of it. And it'll still be, it's just more affordable that way.
But Taylor, there's like serialized, hand-drawn prism and chain in this set. It's even bigger than the One Ring for people who care more about flesh and blood than, magic and Lord of the Rings. But I'm pretty sure the Venn diagram of that is like just a circle of people who like Lord of the Rings and flesh and blood. Probably not. There's like a little bit of an edge, but
I would not gamble your money. So I just don't have that type of personality where I'm like, this could be the one. Isn't that exciting? I'm like, I might as well just set my money on fire. At least it'll keep me warm for 40 seconds.
dude,
while
you
it
could
burns
set
away.
these cards on fire. You could change like 4 bills into, a bunch of cardboard that will burn for like an evening and probably release some kind of toxic chemical that will kill you and your family. But
Perfect.
it will burn for a long time. No, I agree. That's a whole thing. I feel like that's an interesting thing to talk about at some point. I've definitely had to come to grips with the fact that it is basically gambling. There's like a point where like I just want to get like all the base cards, and it's like that's fine. It's kind of the value probably. There's probably like a limit where that makes sense, but then immediately you just cross that, and it's just like, well, I have 100 common cards that I don't know what to do with, and
Yeah. Yep.
that sucks.
It does.
Anyways,
Sidebar. I have a sidebar here.
Yeah, let's go.
Here's a new theory. So we've got United We Stand, and all of the heroes depicted on that card have a specialization.
Ooh. What?
Is that it? Or, you know what I mean? Have they teased us this whole time like, oh yeah, everybody's getting a specialization. Everybody's getting Unity specialization. But maybe they're not. And then you're just going to be Dash, the inventor extraordinaire. And you're like, hello, I would like some cards again, please. 100%. Unless they're on the evil United we defeat or something. United we conquer.
I think that's 100% correct. Unity as like a choice of a name for this kind of mechanic where it like buffs your allies definitely feels like good guy vibes, even though I don't agree that Dorinthia is a good guy. And I'm pretty sure that Briar is more chaotic neutral than good. And then like Oldhim, I don't know, Oldhim's probably got some of that like lawful, neutral where like he's like, no, this is just right and wrong, and it might disagree with what the good guys say. But anyways, I think that's a great call out. I don't think a Unity card makes sense for a Shadow Brute or a Shadow Rune Blade. Like that feels very, Dusk Till Dawn. But I'm maybe they'll have something similar, and maybe it's not a defending you get a thing, but when you do something, it boosts.
Well, yeah, it's like what side? Where does Phi and Dromai and Icelander fall? What about Katsu?
Yeah.
Is Reinar a good guy or a bad
He's a
guy
good guy.
or a neutral? Great father figure, excellent breadwinner,
Just
a
out there
a
living
pillar
his
of his community. Yeah,
life in harmony with nature. And
yeah,
then Solana's like, well, let me just have some of that land. Like,
totally. King Kong was a peaceful being
dude,
until we fucked with him, and then
I
we
mean,
all know how that turned out.
he did mess up those T-Rexes pretty bad, but they messed with him, like
Yeah, 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 totally.
he like ripped its face apart. It was
So
crazy.
crazy.
All right, yeah. So I mean, this is very much like the dawn portion of the Dusk Till Dawn set. I'm hoping we start to see some duskiness. Let's get some Shadow Brute stuff going. We've seen one flail. Let's see a flail reaction. Let's see cards that interact with flail. Let's make this like a thing that's cool. I'm excited to see what else we get. But yeah, it seems, I don't know. Last question. We probably
Oh,
talked about this, but what what are your feelings on like we have a spoiler season and then we just
mm.
like also spoil things many weeks in advance of that all the way up to spoiler season? Shouldn't they just say this is all spoiler season? Like what's the point of saying it's at the end of the month and then being like, "Oh, well, here's like 22 spoilers leading up to spoiler season."
Yeah. Uh, I agree that they should just say not even like season, but period. This is the spoiler period of time that they could come out and or not. It doesn't really bother me. I appreciate the like trickle of cards. It keeps it easier to keep up with it. You get to spend more time with them.
That's how it used to. I feel like that's how it used to be though.
Yeah,
It'd be
yeah.
like 3 or 4 weeks of spoilers, and it was just like cool. It was like everybody was hype, and now it's just like, oh, I guess I have to know. The only way I'll know that there's a spoiler coming is if I'm
Mm.
on Twitter and the person who's got this like secret spoiler I follow and I see that, or someone in Discord shares that, and it's just like, okay,
Yeah. I did like the way that they did the Monarch season where it was like a week or two and it was at a set time every single day and they came out like 3 or 4 came out like every hour or every 30 minutes or something like that. I thought that was really cool, but I bet logistically that's like a little tougher
yeah,
to like wrangle
yeah.
all of the people who are going to or aren't going to follow the rules.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. People just like don't follow the rules, and they're just like, oh, I didn't know if it was like New Zealand time or like, U.S. time. It's just like
Hmm.
it's not that hard, bro. Like, you just wanted to get your video out before other people, so you got more views. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get it, I understand. But anyways, just call it spoiler season. It's spoiler season. There's a bunch of spoilers coming out. Why do we have to play this game? It feels like I'm being manipulated, and I'm tired of it. But yeah, that's it. Dusk Till Dawn, released July 14th.
Somewhere around there. No, earlier, right? No. Correct.
Where's Isaac? Isaac nailed it last June. Wait, no. I'm like June 14th. No, that was somebody
Spoiler
else's spoiler.
season tech or spoiler weekend is like the
It's the end of the month.
30th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starts the
Who
30th.
cares? It's
I think it
coming
is
soon.
the 15th, 16th.
It's coming soon. I
Yeah.
think I might miss all of the pre-release stuff, which is a bummer, but I'm going to be on vacation. So there might be fewer videos over the next couple weeks because I do the videos and I'm going to be out. So I hope this one was fun. Thank you all for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Tell a friend. We have a Patreon to support us for as little as $4 a month. It goes a long way, to help us bring this free content to you. We don't put anything behind a paywall other than just more content that's us talking about non-fab shit for people that like us talking about stuff. So, all of our deck techs, everything else for free for you. Check them all out. There's a great Uzuri one that's been doing well. Shout out to Thor for joining us. We'll probably have some more deck techs leading up into, the next OP season. So stay tuned. Taylor, it's always a pleasure, man. You got some great sword skills there, and
Thank you.
I will be Kanoing immediately after this and blowing you up with my magic.
I'm just ready for us to get another spoiler so I can reprise my role as Bro Anthea and wield this sword in another cinematic masterpiece.
Tweet at LSS, #Bro Anthea, demand a spoiler for the Attack Action podcast. I think the second at this point, we might be the longest running Flesh and Blood podcast.
I think we are.
And not that it's like that demands it, but it would just be nice to be acknowledged or told that our last video was so bad that they took it away from us. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm over it, man. I'm just here to have fun and, play games. So good game and good luck. Have fun, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.